I denied it. It'll be alright. Anyway, it's fucking right. Thank you for using with such energy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Jikook. Have you ever felt that the most meaningful moment in a concert is not the biggest, but the almost invisible? Imagine on the first day of BTS's Soundcheck in El Paso, something felt different, warmer, more sincere, and very intimate. It's not about a grand stage or a spotlight, but rather about small interactions that happen naturally. And in the midst of all that, attention is also focused on two figures who always have a way of stealing hearts, Jimin and Jungkook. From fleeting glances, seemingly always in sync, to spontaneous moments that feel too natural to be called a coincidence, all seem to form a deeper story than just a stage performance. So, what really happens behind these little moments? Why do simple details leave the strongest impression on ARMY? The first day of BTS's Soundcheck in El Paso, United States, in the context of BTS's World Tour Erarang, immediately presented a warm and energetic atmosphere. Even though it was only a preparation session, this moment was actually one of the most attention-grabbing. Not because of the grandeur of the stage, but because of the small interactions that feel spontaneous and real. There is no formal impression. There is only a sense of togetherness that just flows, like an old habit in the midst of a busy schedule. From the beginning, the atmosphere of the Soundcheck felt different. The music played casually, the crew moved in various angles, while the members walked relaxed but stay focused. Between all of that, the camera captures the small details that feel so honest. One of the most attention-grabbing moments was when Jimin and Jungkook walked side by side several times. Without any obvious conversation or over-the-top movements, the two seemed to follow a very natural pattern, formed from years of familiarity. Their closeness does not look contrived. Even in a matter of seconds in a single frame, fans can feel its meaning. This is where it can be seen that no matter how big the concert, small details such as standing positions, brief glances, or togetherness in silence actually feel more meaningful. One of the best moments during the Soundcheck happened when they danced to the song FYA. Unlike the precise choreography of the concert, their movements this time felt relaxed, light, and free. There's no pressure to be perfect, just two people enjoying the music. Small smiles, spontaneous gestures, and gentle laughter create a warm atmosphere like in a rehearsal room, not a big concert preparation. When night falls and the concert begins, the atmosphere changes drastically. The lights lit brightly, the cheers of the audience filled the arena, and the energy instantly soared. But behind it all, small moments still appear. One of them is when Jungkook is seen waiting for Jimin before starting the choreography. Only a few seconds, but it was enough to show a strong synchronization between them. Soon, they smiled at each other, a brief pause that felt warm amid the intensity of the stage. In another moment, Jungkook looked at Jimin with a gentle expression. In the midst of the hustle and bustle of the concert, the gaze felt calm, as if creating a small space in the crowd. Jimin replied with a spontaneous smile. Without words, without script. Shortly after, Jungkook makes a heart gesture towards ARMY, then directs it at Jimin. It's simple, but it's enough to create a warm atmosphere that is instantly felt. There was also an interesting moment when Jimin pointed to the moon while showing Jungkook his moon tattoo. This gesture feels symbolic and personal. Jungkook watched him with a warm expression, without dialogue, but full of meaning. One of the most touching moments occurred when they hugged on stage. It's short, but enough to turn the mood into a more emotional one. Many fans see it as a symbol of closeness and trust that has been built up over the years. Behind all that, there are also light-hearted moments that show their relaxed side. Jimin and Jungkook sat side by side, joking around in a relaxed atmosphere. Jungkook exclaimed, "Vamos!" followed by laughter and a reply of, "Gracias." They even had time to say, "Te amo" to each other, with a sincere laugh that made the atmosphere even warmer. In another moment that went viral, they laughed while discussing the experience of enjoying margaritas. Jimin was seen leaning towards Jungkook several times, a small gesture that showed a sense of comfort. Towards the end of the concert, Jimin delivered a warm message to ARMY. Sitting next to Jungkook, he expressed his gratitude for the wonderful welcome in El Paso. Jungkook then adds, "Te amo," which warms the atmosphere even more. In the middle of it all, there are small details like Jungkook showing Jimin heart-shaped confetti. Simple, yet scarred. Under a sea of light and thousands of voices, they stood close together. But that proximity is not just physical distance. There is a still language that only they understand, connections that don't require words. A meeting gaze, a simple smile, and small gestures become a complete form of communication. It was as if in the midst of the crowds, they created their own little world, calm, warm, and meaningful. There is a pattern that keeps repeating, the way they always find each other. Without effort, their eyes seem to meet automatically. Jungkook always seemed to come back to Jimin, and Jimin replied with the same warmth. There is no big movement, no drama. In fact, the beauty lies in the little things. Unconscious approaches, constant side-by-side positions, and occasional shoulder touches, everything feels natural. Even in the stage formation that had been arranged, they still found a way to sit next to each other. As if it is not an option, but a habit. Moments like when Jimin showed the moon tattoo on his back and Jungkook responded with a light touch felt very spontaneous. Brief, but leaves a deep impression. Interestingly, this pattern is often repeated. Every time Jimin sees the moon with Jungkook, he seems to want to show the tattoo. Simple gestures, but very personal. On the other hand, Jungkook's light touch feels reflexive, natural, warm, and meaningful. In the midst of a hectic schedule, performance pressure, and thousands of pairs of eyes that are always watching, they still find a small space to be themselves. A space where laughter feels lighter, and each other's presence is a balancing act in the middle of it all. One of the most striking things about their interactions is how natural everything feels. There is no contrived or forced impression. Even when the camera isn't focused on them, those little moments still happen, as if they're part of a habit that can't be eliminated. This makes many armies feel that what they see is not just fan service, but a reflection of a long-established relationship. After the concert was over, the lights went out, and the cheers slowly disappeared. All that remained were not the songs sung that night. What is left behind are the small pieces, the smiles that were caught on camera, the gazes that lasted a little longer, and the simple moments that felt real. These are the things that fans continue to remember, discuss, and re-feel. Because at the end of the day, it's not just the appearance that leaves a mark, but also the feeling. What happened in El Paso was not just an ordinary series of interactions. It is a collection of moments that, when viewed in their entirety, form something greater. A story without a narrative. A connection without explanation. A feeling that can only be understood by those who see it by heart. And perhaps, that's why these moments live on, even after the concert ends. Ultimately, concerts in El Paso aren't just about the music or the splendor of the stage. What impresses most are the little things, the slightly longer gaze, the unconscious steps that come closer, and the presence that feels like home in the midst of the thousands. Because sometimes, the strongest connection, it doesn't take many words to feel. Thank you for watching Jikook Purple Heart. If you feel the same way, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with other hot moments on Jikook. See you in the next video.